As someone who spent a lot of time playing with words and using words professionally, I love it when someone actually puts the value of words into the spotlight. One of the things that I run into in working with clients is that a lot of marketing, they like strategy, they like talking about strategy. Strategy is very sexy, but what really matters to them is outcomes. In my world, in your world, it's conversions, leads, sales, MQLs, SQLs, the metrics that seem to matter. It would be great if you could provide some insight or direction into the correlation between better messaging and the outcomes for the business. For any CEO who maybe doesn't appreciate the value of messaging, it would be great for you to enlighten them or educate them on the fact that if you have better messaging, more effective messaging that aligns with what your target audiences are seeking, then there is a positive impact on the business. And maybe you can define what that impact may be. And it can be many things, I suspect.
So what I realized about messaging, and so I went down this rabbit hole of copywriting, studying these great copywriters. And what I discovered is that a lot of people think copywriting is about writing clickbait headlines and stylistic improvements like using subheads and bullet points and all those things. But and I know you have a journalism background too, so this will resonate. I discovered that copywriting is really the art of argumentation. This goes back thousands of years to Aristotle. And so what I realized was that marketing is really making an argument, and not like a heated argument, like a road rage an argument,
Mhm.
but making a rhetorical argument where you're making claims and assertions and backing them up with proof. And the reason why that's important, how that leads to these outcomes, these metrics like ROI and click through rates and all these things is if you don't have buy in from your prospect on these assumptions that you are making, then you're just going to hit a brick wall when you go to make them an offer. So what I found was I became the behind this after my beer website. I became the behind the scenes marketing guy, working with these other like very smart people who had it's mainly in the online course and coaching field, tech, software, harder to understand products. These are very smart people, right? So
Mhm.
the curse of knowledge. So they had all these assumptions when they turned around to from the they turned from the product to the marketing side and made all these assumptions, things that they assumed that the prospect knew that just weren't the case. So I came in and said, "Hey, look, no, we need to make an argument for these things that you're assuming because you're throwing all these coupons and discounts at them and they're just bouncing off a brick wall." But once we made our argument and we got buy-in, then they were open to the more traditional, what we call sales technique, copywriting techniques, like the upsells, downsells, and such. And then that's when we saw these big improvements in those metrics, like conversion rates, yes, and also too, you just get a better quality customer when or client when you're relying on more sales tactics, things like discounting, things like bundling, and all that. You don't get nearly the quality of customer or client that you get if you first establish this mutual understanding through your argument and they're on board with your methodology and then you make them the offer. So it's also the difference between short term and long term thinking.